Welcome to the In-Between and our series, Heroes of Faith.
Guys, this is our last episode in the series. We've been going through the Bible, looking at examples of people who showed great faith in God.
We want to trust God the way they did. So one last time, let's head back to the Hall of Heroes to learn about today's heroes, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Can we just talk for a second about how much of a tongue twister those names are? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I can't.
Not quite, you're close-ish. But I do agree, those are strange names and kind of hard to say. But don't worry, we're going to say them a bunch of times so you'll get the hang of it.
All right, well, let's go.
All right, here we go.
Jeff!
Oh my gosh.
Jeff. What?
Where, when?
Did you break the in-between?
I don't. I think we're... Can you get us out of
Let's
here?
get out of here.
Oh.
That was close. I don't know what that was.
Really here, though. Okay.
Man, so many cool exhibits. Let's go, Jeff.
Oh, I'm coming.
People didn't do it.
Well, that's the crazier part. He was so
my gosh,
serious
Jeff.
about people bowing down to
Look.
worship this statue
What
that he said if anyone didn't bow down when they heard
Is
the music
that-
playing, they would be
Wait,
thrown
what am I
inside a
seeing? Is this a
fiery
mirror?
furnace to die.
I don't know what.
King Nebuchadnezzar meant business. So
are
all
we
the
looking
people
at
who had been
something-
assembled to see the statue
future?
arrived, and at the sound
I
of the
got it.
music,
Nope.
they
I'm
obeyed
gonna-
the king and bowed down to.
Too weird. Too strange. Wow. Are we okay?
That was really, really weird.
Okay. The in-between. I need something to get my mind off of that. So, Claire, soup.
Seriously?
Do you see it?
I don't want to go there again. We
It's
have
our
been
last
burned
one of
every
this
single time.
series. But every day is a new opportunity. It's our last
Those
chance.
kids have made us 9 terrible meals.
But the last one,
Today's the day.
like a really bad Netflix series that ends well.
Okay, I'm willing to go there.
All right, let's do the Hall of Heroes first, and then we'll
okay,
come back. All right,
that way?
let's do it.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, here we are, Jeff, one last time in the Hall of Heroes. It is so cool that this whole wing of the museum has been dedicated to heroes of faith.
I know so far we've learned about so many heroes from the Bible. Abel, Noah, Abraham, Joseph, Moses, Joshua, and Caleb.
We're going to learn about 3 more today, but there are so many more. Now remember, faith is to have complete trust or confidence in something or someone.
And in the Bible, Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see.
Faith is simply believing that God is who he says he is and that he is able to do what he says he will do in his word. Having confidence in God enables us to live lives of faith.
Today we're learning about 3 friends named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Right. I know this story. It takes place in kind of a sad time in the history of the Israelite people.
The nation of Israel had been invaded and defeated by the Babylonians, a foreign nation. The Babylonians took over their cities and took the Israelites into exile in Babylon.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were 3 young Israelites who loved the Lord and had great faith in him. So even though it was really hard for them to be sent into exile in Babylon, they trusted God and believed that he was with them.
The king of Babylon was an interesting guy named Nebuchadnezzar.
Now, that name is just as crazy, right? Say it 3 times fast.
Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar.
Wow, I am very impressed. I thought that was going to be harder for you.
Well, it wasn't easy. King Nebuchadnezzar had a giant statue built. It was 90 feet tall and made out of gold.
What? 90 feet tall? Okay, a 90-foot gold statue would be as tall as, what, like an 8-story building? That is so tall.
Yeah, and it was a statue of himself.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. A statue of himself, as tall as an 8-story building. He must have had a pretty high opinion of himself.
He sure did. In fact, his opinion of himself was so high that when the statue was completed, he called for all of the people to come to its dedication. He made a decree, like a law, that said that anytime people heard the sound of instruments playing, they needed to bow down and worship the gold statue.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. So What happened if the people didn't do it?
Well, that's the crazier part. He was so serious about people bowing down to worship this statue that he said if anyone didn't bow down when they heard the music playing, they would be thrown inside a fiery furnace to die.
King Nebuchadnezzar meant business. So all the people who had been assembled to see the statue arrived, and at the sound of the music, they obeyed the king and bowed down to worship the statue.
Everyone except Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that is. They wouldn't bow down to worship this gold statue of the king because they worshiped God.
King Nebuchadnezzar heard about this and was furious. He called them to come explain themselves.
And their response to the king and what happened next is the reason their story is such a great example of faith for us. They said to the king, "We do not need to defend ourselves to you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand."
But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. That's all from Daniel chapter 3, verses 16 through 18.
Now, King Nebuchadnezzar was furious with them and had them bound, tied up, and ordered them to be thrown into the fiery furnace.
But before they were, he wanted the furnace heated 7 times hotter than before. It was so hot that when the guards opened the doors to throw them in, they were killed by the heat.
Wow. The king and his attendants watched the furnace as they entered, and suddenly the king leapt to his feet in amazement and asked, "Weren't there 3 men we tied up and threw into the fire?"
They said, "Certainly, your majesty." And then the king said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the 4th looks like an angel."
King Nebuchadnezzar approached the furnace and yelled at them to come out. So the 3 of them came out of the fire.
Their clothes and hair were completely unsinged, and they didn't even smell of smoke.
What King Nebuchadnezzar said next is amazing. "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any other god except their own God."
He then decreed that no one could say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego without consequence. He gave glory to God and declared that no other God could save in this way.
The faith of these 3 friends in the face of something so terrifying should inspire us to live lives that fully trust God.
It definitely should. They could have been terrified of the king. It would have been so easy to just go along with the king's order and bow down with everybody else. But they trusted God to save them.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also trusted that even if they did die in the furnace, God was still in control and that his plan was bigger and better than they could understand.
Let's check out this example of how we can respond with faith to do the right thing, even if we're scared or tempted to just go along with the crowd. That was a great example of a way we can stand up for what's right and not be afraid to go against the crowd.
That's right. I'm sure it was hard for that girl to say no to stealing the shirt. I mean, her friends made it look like it was so easy and no big deal.
But she chose to obey God, who tells us that stealing is a sin, and not go along with them, even though they made fun of her for doing so.
When we obey what God says in His Word, we're trusting that He is in control and has a better plan, even if we don't understand it at the time.
That is living by faith. Today is our last day here. And it's been a weird day, guys. I mean, there was all that weird stuff that we saw in the museum at the beginning.
Broke the in-between.
Did we?
Well, hear me out. If we did, maybe this soup will be really, really good today. The special might actually be special.
I hope so. Let's find out.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay, we're back. This all looks the same.
All right.
Jelly beans.
Oh.
Yeah, I like jelly beans.
Maybe there's like a little of a sweet theme. Peeps again.
Please
okay.
don't put mashed potatoes in the soup. More marshmallows.
Whoa.
Oh, I love conversation hearts.
Text me.
And sprinkles.
Claire, this is looking really good.
Hold on.
I'm gonna add some candy from a candy.
Is this just
He's adding
it's
some
like
candy
a candy
from
candy
soup.
soup? Okay.
This might actually
I
be my dream come
really
true.
She just added
I've been wanting this soup since I was 5 years old, and I'm finally getting to have it. Candy
Oh,
soup.
oh, wow, that's a generous handful.
As long as it's not the
Wait,
fake jelly
he didn't
beans.
even put the string in. He just put the candy in.
Are they being kind right now?
Hold on. Do you think they're going to open a candy store?
If they do, I think they'll have some regular customers.
Sprinkles, I like that. I like all of these things.
Can we?
I think that's a little too
Might be.
Well, good point. Good
Is she
point,
going to
sir.
stop? Nope, she went for it. She full went for
She
it.
did not take his advice.
No.
Oh, wow, that looks really
gonna add some hot mice.
Yes, you do.
Ooh,
Yeah, that
the
adds some
heart marshmallows.
structure.
And
Yeah.
Well, what happens when they heat this up?
that's on the water.
Here
It's gonna
comes the
get a little
water.
bit, okay, a little soupy. This is a soup
Oh,
after all.
yeah.
It's
Is
almost
it
like
going to be a cold soup?
it's almost like a
Candy gazpacho?
a fruity fondue.
Oh, okay.
A kind of, okay, yeah.
Stir that
Whip
up.
that up, okay.
Honestly, that's
I might be able to work with this.
Okay.
All right. Let's just make
Uh-oh,
sure
what
we
do you do now?
don't put our
You got
hands
your
on
heart
that.
stuck in
Let's
there.
just make sure that doesn't
Keep
go
it
back
up.
in. Let's just make sure
No,
that comes
no.
out. Well,
No,
okay.
Do you think the boiling process will kill the germs on their hands?
You know, I've got a theory that maybe that is.
Oh, back in there.
She just can't get enough of those jelly beans. I think that really is the base.
Enjoy your soup.
Here's hoping. Okay, so the marshmallows
Looks
things are melting.
marginally good. Okay.
Okay. I'm
right.
willing to try it.
All right. You know,
Dare I say it, Jeff?
say it.
I'm feeling a little optimistic. There's marshmallows, there's candy. Let's go. Oh. This is like the soup I would have dreamed about when I was a kid. It's good.
It's got it's multi-layered with the jelly bean base. Really pulls out the sugars of the marshmallows in such a way that you really can't avoid the.
Chef's kiss. I got
It's gorgeous.
I got a
It's
chewy
simple.
jelly bean in there.
Oh,
We gotta get these kids a candy shop. I think that's what they were missing. They don't know how to mix other ingredients.
This could be very profitable.
Great on the palate. All right, well, we're gonna enjoy our soup.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10 would recommend. Hey, tune back in next time. Thank you all so much for watching our Heroes of Faith series.
If you missed an episode, you can check out our playlist to learn more about other heroes of faith.
Or if you want to learn other themes from the Bible, check out our series on the armor of God and the fruit of the Spirit.
We hope to see you back again soon. Bye.